The bond between them grew strong, and Okorafor became the father figure Udoni had always longed for. As the months turned into years, Udoni grew into a formidable young man. His skills as a hunter became unmatched, and his wisdom deepened with every story Okorafor shared. Yet, amidst his growth and newfound purpose, Udoni's heart was often heavy with thoughts of his past. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Okorafor noticed Udoni's distant gaze. "Something troubles you, my son." "Speak of it," Okorafor urged gently. Udoni sighed, staring into the flickering flames. "It's Ziora, father. She was my childhood love, the one who made my days brighter. I worry for her. The men who took me told me terrible things, that my own father ordered my kidnapping, fearing I would abandon our traditions for the missionaries' teachings." Okorafor's eyes softened. "Your father loves you, Udoni. Fear and manipulation are powerful tools of deceit. Your father the king was a good man." To cheer Udoni up, Okorafor decided to share his own story. "I, too, have known great loss," he began. "Years ago, I fled our village after my twin children were taken away and thrown into the evil forest. My wife and I decided to leave the village. My father, the king, could have stopped them, if he was a good man as you said," Udoni inquired. "I can tell that it's beyond him. It's a tradition that was there even before he was born. I saw pity in his eyes, unlike the heartless men that snatched our babies from our hands." As Okorafor spoke, Udoni's heart ached for his mentor's pain. He realized that he wasn't alone in his suffering and that others had endured unimaginable hardships. The bond between them grew even stronger as they shared their sorrows and hopes by the firelight. Udoni wanted to ask Okorafor how he lost his wife but quickly discarded the idea. He did not want to remind him of his painful past. Back in their land, the kingdom prepared for the annual New Yam Festival, a grand celebration marking the harvest season. This festival was a time of joy, with feasting, dancing, and the retelling of ancient legends. The kingdom buzzed with excitement as villagers gathered in the central square, adorned in vibrant traditional attire. During the festival, Tagbo, Arut's son, was introduced to the community as the new successor to the throne. However, no date was given for Tagbo's initiation into the title that would mark the final approval and seal the king's decision for Tagbo to succeed him. The announcement was met with mixed feelings. While some villagers cheered for Tagbo, others whispered their doubts and concerns. The absence of Udoni cast a shadow over the festivities, and many wondered about the true fate of their beloved prince. In their quiet humble abode, Okorafor shared stories of the kingdom's past with Udoni, filling the young prince with a sense of purpose. Udoni knew he could not stay hidden forever, his destiny awaited him in Okanland. He wanted to trace his way back to his village, but he could not leave his fragile father, who had fallen sick, alone in the house to embark on a long journey. One day, while searching for herbs in the forest, Udoni saw a man dressed in a traditional Benin battle outfit floating on the river. He saved him and brought him home. A month later, the man recovered and took Udoni and Okorafor back to his people. He was the chief palace guard to King Omori of Benin. His name was Azuwa. Azuwa had been tied and pushed into the river by his two envious subordinates while on an emissary mission for the king. They told King Omori that a leopard attacked them on their way back. Meanwhile, Udoni and Okorafor were welcomed warmly and accepted in the new community. As Udoni and Okorafor integrated into the community, they formed strong bonds with the people of Benin. Udoni's skills as a hunter and peacemaker were quickly recognized, and he earned the respect and admiration of the warriors. Okorafor, too, found solace and companionship among the elders, sharing his wisdom and stories. King Omori was impressed by the reports he was getting about them. After 3 farming seasons, he decided to organize a ceremony to integrate Okorafor and Udoni into the Aweke Kingdom of Benin land. That evening, Udoni met Nosa at the ceremony. Nosa was the daughter of King Omori's domestic servant, Dima. Dima had come to live in the palace a few months before her daughter Nosa was born. The slave merchants who had captured her in the forest later abandoned her and fled when they were ambushed by the Aweka dynasty's warriors whom were stationed at Odudu Mountain to wedge the slave merchants from capturing Aweka people. She was brought to live in the palace of King Omori since she could no longer trace her own village. The sight of Nosa reminded Udoni of Siora, and he began to feel moody again, wishing he could find her. Despite his sadness, Udoni found himself drawn to Nosa's kindness and strength. Over time, their bond deepened, and Udoni found solace in her presence. As Udoni and Nosa grew closer, they shared their dreams and fears, finding comfort in each other's company. Nosa's resilience and compassion reminded Udoni of the strength and love he had experienced in his past. He began to envision a future where he could return to Okonland and restore peace to his homeland. Destiny unveiled one day, as Dima, hearing from her daughter that Udoni was from a faraway land called Okonland, decided to meet him to hear from him. She recounted her story of being captured and separated from her husband. Okorafor realized that she was his long-lost wife. Dima, Okorafor whispered in disbelief, tears welling up in his eyes. It's me, Okorafor. Dima gasped, covering her mouth. Okorafor. I thought I had lost you forever. They embraced, tears of joy streaming down their faces. That fateful day after they left the village in anguish, they set out into the forest determined to journey to far-away land with different culture and tradition. At dusk, Okorafor left his tired wife under an orchid tree and went in search of wild fruits for their dinner. As he searches for membe fruits, he got lost in the and could no longer locate his wife. Unknown to him, he was touched by a certain leaf called the Njoofia leaf. The Akwakwo Njoofia leaf was believed to cause whomever it touches it to lose his or her bearing. This was the case with Okorafor. He wandered deeper into the forest until his feet could no longer carry him. The next, after he regained his sanity, he returned to find out that his wife was gone. What happened? Okorafor asked Dima. Udoni was perplexed with Okorafor's story about the Njoofia leaf. He recalled that his grandmother, from whom he learned the art storytelling, had once told him a similar story in one of her numerous African folktales. Udoni's paternal grandmother, when he was alive, was known for her peculiar act of storytelling. Tears of joy gathered in Dima's eyes as she began to tell Okorafor what happened that night. About 4 men jumped down from the tree as soon as you left and seized me. They were slave merchants. They made me journey with them throughout the night until the Aweka warrior came to my rescue. King Omaroyi ordered his warriors to bring Okorafor and Dima back to their homeland. Upon hearing that Udoni was a prince, promised to help him secure his throne. Udoni, disguised himself accompanied by 2 warriors, set out for Okonland, where he discovered that Siora, his childhood friend, had died after her twin sons were forcefully taken away from her. He also discovered from the villagers that his father, King Ezuku, has fallen sick due to the accumulated pain and agony of losing his first son. Now Udoni knew that his father was not behind his kidnap. He returned to Aweka land heartbroken, but later found solace in Nosa, who turned out to be Okorafor's daughter. Unknown to Udoni, Dima had been pregnant at the time she was lost in the forest. Udoni married Nosa, bringing joy to both their families. Meanwhile, back in Okonland, Arud, Udoni's stepmother, believed Udoni was dead and urged the king to initiate Tagbo into the grand title that would seal his succession as the next king. King Ezuku, however, was skeptical. He knew that the burial ceremony of Udoni must be carried out before he could declare him dead and allow another son to take the throne. But he could not bring himself to declare his son dead. Despite the risk of his family losing the throne in the event of his death, he remained adamant to Adu's pressures and the persuasions from his friends to do the needful to retain the throne in his bloodline. Arud often told King Oku about a dream she had of someone plotting to take over the throne. "My king," she said one evening, "I dreamt of a shadowy figure plotting to seize your throne. We must act quickly to secure Tagbo's position." King Ezuku sought advice from his trusted cabinet. "What should I do?" he asked. "If I do not initiate any of my sons into the title, the throne will be vacant and can be contested should anything happen to me." One elder replied, "Your Majesty, if you do not initiate a successor, it will create uncertainty. We must declare Odoni dead if we are to proceed with Tagbo's initiation." As fate will have it, while King Ezuku was still holding the meeting with his cabinets, Odoni returned finally to Okonland with Okorefor, Dima, and the warriors from the Aweke dynasty. His arrival shocked the kingdom. Arud's schemes were exposed, and she was stripped of her title and exiled from the kingdom. Odoni was welcomed back with open arms, and he ascended the throne, bringing peace and prosperity to Okonland. Nosa became his queen, and together, they ruled with wisdom and compassion, guided by the lessons learned from their extraordinary journey. The day of Udoni's coronation was a momentous occasion. The entire kingdom gathered to witness the return of their beloved prince and the rightful heir to the throne. The palace was adorned with vibrant decorations, and the air was filled with the sounds of joyous celebration. King Ezuku, frail but filled with pride, placed the crown upon Udoni's head. "My son," he said, his voice trembling with emotion, "you have proven yourself worthy of this throne. Rule with the wisdom and strength that you have gained through your trials." Few months after, King Ezuku passed peacefully. After his funeral, Udoni took over. Udoni, now King Udoni, Ezuku II, looked out at his people with a heart full of gratitude and determination. He vowed to bring justice and prosperity to Okonland, to honor the memory of those he had lost, and to create a future where peace and harmony reigned. Beside him, Nosa stood as his queen, her presence a symbol of hope and unity. Together, they began their reign, guided by the lessons of their past and the dreams of a brighter future. Building a new future under King Udoni's rule, Okonland flourished. He implemented reforms that strengthened the kingdom's defenses, improved trade relations with neighboring regions, and promoted education and cultural preservation. He then started making plans to abolish the killing of twins and soon implemented a new law to stop the disposing of twin children in the evil forest. His leadership brought about a golden age of peace and prosperity. His stories were incorporated into Africa folktales and was carried from generation to generation. Nosa played a crucial role as queen, supporting Udoni and championing causes close to her heart. She focused on initiatives that improved the lives of women and children, drawing on her own experiences and resilience. Together, they built a legacy that honored the past while embracing the future. The kingdom thrived under their guidance, and their love story became a symbol of hope and inspiration for generations to come. The River of Secrets years later, as the sun set over the great river Oran, an old and wise King Udoni sat by the water's edge, reminiscing about his extraordinary journey. The river, which had once carried so many secrets and sorrows, now flowed peacefully, a testament to the enduring strength and resilience of Okonland. As he looked out at the horizon, Udoni smiled, knowing that his story, and the story of his kingdom, would be remembered for generations. The River of Secrets had become a river of life, nourishing the land and its people, just as the lessons of the past had nourished his heart and soul.